Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast Cyberpunk Spoileriffic Blowout Special. I am a host, Mark Webb, Gamer Tag. Oh, fuck me. I had some. Hang on. I need to bloody mute. How do you mute?
Professional.
Edge. I can't do this. Hang on, let me do this. Hang on, so sorry, I've got work stuff on my own PC. I need to turn it off. Okay, should we do it again?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. And a 3, and a 2, and a 1. Hello and welcome to 360 Gamercast Cyberpunk Spoilerific Blowout Special. I'm your host, Mark Webb, Gamertag, PSND, Steam ID, Webby, 360G, and joining me today is...
Releasing the show 56 years too early. Sly Almond.
Turner, how's it going?
Hi, it's Delatoth.
How are we all doing? So we have Turner and Delatoth, which are community members, joining us on this Cyberpunk special today. They have both completed it, along with myself and Sly of the Almond. The date today is the 2nd of January 2021. So I've got to mention that at the beginning of the show. And this is going to probably be a Patreon special as well. Good times indeed. So what did you guys think of Cyberpunk? Well, first of all, my first question is, what systems did you play it on?
I was playing on the
Personal computer.
PC.
Yeah, I played on PC.
We all did.
We all played it on PC. Okay, that's
Yeah.
probably the reason why we've all completed it then. Okay, so we've all played it on PC. Have any of you tried it on any other systems or not?
No,
No.
Okay.
not personally.
Okay, that's fine. So just on that note then, did you guys get any massive glitches in the game, any bugs, any graphical issues or anything like that?
Yes.
Yes.
I saw it
Nothing
had some minor
groundbreaking.
bugs, but
Okay,
Sorry, what
Sly,
you
you
saying?
go first. Tell us about your
Okay,
bugs.
so I had the frequent bug of while in conversation sometimes the dialogue options wouldn't come up and the person I was talking to would just stop talking, like whether that be on the phone or in person. So I just had to reload a save to like restart the conversation. I had a very funny
weird.
bug where in one particular mission, it was a side mission, I had to climb through a window to activate a control panel. And I climbed through this window and I flew 200 meters backwards. And then it happened again, and then it happened a third time on the same window.
Oh,
So that was an interesting one. Sometimes when shooting, my gun would go down and not come up again.
that is weird.
And I also kind of the artifacting effect, where everything when you kind of skip time, and you get the blue screen coming down. Sometimes that just kind of went on forever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I never had the famous T-bug pose or T-pose. You know where the people are standing in the T position.
Yeah, I had that a
Yeah.
few times.
I
in the
never had that
clubs.
one.
Yeah, I saw that quite a lot actually.
I never had it.
Yeah, it is a weird one.
It was playable. Like I finished the game, but I
Mm-hmm.
certainly did my fair share of reloading saves to make sure bugs stopped happening.
That's fair enough. What about you, Delatoth?
Apologies. Parent-related emergency.
Oh, that's fine. I understand that
yeah.
completely.
It's like 3 months old, so it's a bit
Yeah.
sudden tears out of nowhere, so it's fine. No, I had a lot of just like weird perpetual nonsense, which like just sound effects that would loop and just never go away till you reloaded. Which was really annoying after one of the missions where like you've got ye olde Silverhand.
Yep.
And he like it glitches the screen, and I'm sitting there going, when does this story mission actually end? Because this effect is not going away.
Oh no.
Around the city for like 45 minutes with constant like flashing. This has got to be too far, surely.
You've reminded me of a bug I had with the sound now. I did one of the boxing matches, and I had to reload my save because I lost the fight because I wanted to, keep my money. And when I reloaded the save, not only was the punching sound still playing,
Ugh.
my character was making the male V noises even though I was a female V, and I wasn't in a fight. I was just standing there.
That is
That was
weird.
That was a
Like-
really weird one. Yeah, I had to force quit the game. That was a really bad one.
That was
Oh.
like a really weird bug where like you know how in some games subtitles have a little like box that they'll
Yes.
appear in? The box would appear even though like right where the subtitles appear, even though in Cyberpunk there is no box for the subtitles. It's completely
Yeah.
transparent.
Yeah, that happened
So
to
that
me
was
once.
Really weird.
Yeah.
It's an easy fix because I do have my games on like an SSD, so it to just hit the quick load it was like
Yeah.
10 seconds to reload the game.
Hmm.
So like that wasn't really a problem. It's like quick save, quick load. But
Yeah.
there is a lot of weird situations where it's like you're chasing a guy through a park. You'll jump over a fence, and the 1 foot fall on the other side of the fence just insta kills you.
Hmm. Yeah. What about you, Turner? Did you have any interesting bugs or glitches?
Yeah, so for me, I think I was pretty lucky. I didn't really have many bugs. The only one that I had was cars would randomly explode sometimes.
That
Yeah.
is the best bug though.
Yeah, I'd just be driving a car would just randomly explode, and that was interesting. I also had a bug where it was during a mission where it turned from night to day instantly.
Yes, I've had that as
I had
well.
that.
I've had that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It must be the
and
same mission.
yeah, it was one with the cop that you would like going to kill a cop or something.
Yeah, you have to chase a car, right? You get
Yeah.
it's a side
Oh,
mission,
yeah.
For the
right? Yeah.
it was for the film producer chick. She's
Mhm.
like making a film or whatever. Yep.
Yeah.
And
That would be the understatement of the
Yeah.
century. She's making a film.
yeah,
I guess we'll
Yeah.
get
Well,
that side quest
Not
later.
only do I want to talk about the main quest in this one, I want to talk about some of the more notable side quests.
Oh,
yeah,
100%,
and
100%.
the only other bug was at the end of the game, the quest that I chose to end on. The like, are we allowed to? Oh, we're in spoilers.
Yeah,
so
we're in
we're allowed to talk
spoilers,
about
mate.
it.
Yeah.
Basically, when I was on the tank or the
Mhm.
truck with Pan Am, like
Yeah.
the whole ground wasn't being rendered, so we're just floating in space.
Oh, that's bizarre.
Oh, the
Yeah.
like LOD, like was it like almost as if the terrain looks as if you're like looking at it from like 10 kilometers away, sort of like weird.
No, it was like just like
Is
you
it
could
like
see
when
like
you
the
clip through
stars
the
and
floor?
stuff through it.
Oh, okay.
So like
I
it
think
was
I had
just
an
like the
instance of that.
sky background, whatever.
Because I know in
That
like
was
GTA
interesting.
that sometimes happens when you're going like too fast and it stops loading the world correctly, and then
Yeah,
all
so
the
everything was rendered correctly. It was
technology
just the
stuff.
ground, it just wasn't there.
bizarre.
Yeah, that is weird.
But yeah, no, it was nothing game breaking though. So still a pretty enjoyable game.
But it did.
Besides
Did it
some
ruin your
slight visual
immersion?
bugs. Oh no, at that point I was like 60 hours in. I was ready to see the ending, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt the same. I mean, the only bugs that I came across was right at the beginning when you're in the chair with the Ripperdoc dude, and had to reload my save because he kept on repeating all his sentences, and he was kind of jumping back and forth around the room. It was really weird.
Okay,
So I
Oh,
just
there is-
reloaded my save, and that sorted itself out. And then
fixed it.
I didn't
We
really.
should say there's been a couple hot fixes since we probably all played it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. And the other thing that randomly happened, which I didn't think, because I saw it happen in a few YouTube videos, which I thought, oh, that's a bit weird, where I was walking down the street towards a mission, and then all of a sudden a car just came flying at me from midair and just landed in the street right next to me, like the Hulk
So-
had thrown it across the city, and I was like, what the hell would happen
That's the
there?
other main side quest, surely, isn't it?
Yeah, no. So I'm pretty sure that's from. You know how you got to kill the psychos?
Oh,
Have you killed the
Ah,
16 psychos?
I
No, I've
haven't done
done-
them all.
I
I've done
did.
a couple.
I think I did 2
So-
or 3.
One of them I've noticed. You go to his house, and the first thing he does is he chucks. He's got a huge robot like body on, and he throws a car. I'm
Right.
assuming that car is somehow you're activating it, but you're not in the mission, so you're just it's randomly landing
Ah.
near you.
That makes sense. That does make
I've
sense.
also
Yeah.
seen like some weird nonsense with car physics. which
Okay.
like sometimes cars will just like have infinite mass. So like one car will swerve and knock like 15 cars off the road, like I said, a bowling pins. So
It's funny.
it's like vehicle physics especially seem really touchy, but in purely the funniest fashion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's weird because we're talking about all the bugs and glitches because we need to get that out of the way, but it didn't actually deter my enjoyment from the game at all.
No.
And what's quite
Yeah.
interesting is I know we've all played it on PC, and I'm quite interested to know your setups in a minute because I was quite lucky and I managed to pick up a 3080 a few months
Oh
back.
god damn.
So I've been playing it, all the settings completely maxed out, with the ray tracing as well at the super settings, and at 1440p, and the performance has been all over the place. So when I'm walking around doing missions, etc., it's quite smooth. It'll just be over 60, but then as soon as I get in a car and start driving around the city, I'm like, the frame rate's jumping between like 40 and 50 really, which is quite jarring when it's just jumping up and down
Yep.
quite a lot like that, which is quite interesting. And also, I'm obviously, as I said, I'm playing it with all the settings maxed out. I think throughout the game there's a big disparity in the quality of the graphics. So you'll be close up to people and they'll look really, really good. But then what I find is when I'm driving around the city, like all the buildings, do they just have this kind of, like during the day anyway, they just look quite fake in a weird way. They don't have it. They just kind of look like one color, like very flat, if that makes sense. I'm not really sure how else to explain it. It doesn't look. I just don't think they look great. But then at night time, everything looks
I
really nice. You
so
know.
I thought the visuals during the day looked stunning as well. I didn't
Oh,
really
okay.
have that, but
I think it's just down
that's
to
just my
personal
opinion.
preference. Then
Yeah, I
maybe.
Yeah,
just
might
enjoyed
be.
running around during like the
Mhm.
morning, just
Yeah.
looking at the buildings. Because
Yeah.
It
that's
might
one of the
also
things I
be.
really liked is looking up. It was
Yeah.
like, oh my god,
Hmm.
you don't realize how large the buildings are.
Yeah.
I
There's a
wonder
lot of
how much.
verticality to the game, isn't there? Which is
It'd be
really
good
really
for
good.
VR if they could do it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just found there was a little bit of disparity between the graphics and different areas and stuff, but
Yep.
overall, I thought the quality was really really good. The thing that I really liked about the game, as well as the ray tracing, it really because I've seen videos of it running on consoles and without the ray tracing as well, and I think that's a technology that actually makes quite a big difference in this game, to be quite honest. And sometimes it's quite subtle.
Mm,
Um, the one thing I don't like, I just want to say that's not good about the ray tracing is you compare it to Watch Dogs and you walk past some windows and you'll see the reflection of your character in the windows. Well, they seem to have completely omitted it in Cyberpunk, so you won't see any reflections of your character, which kind of takes you out of the experience a little bit because that's kind of what you expect to see. But especially at night time,
yeah.
looking at all the lighting and
Yeah.
the neon lights reflecting on puddles in the ground. And even during the day, you can see, the sun going round and just all the shadows, etc. Just and all the reflections. It looks really, really nice. I did
Yeah.
try it without the ray tracing on, and it was one of those things that I found
It
like
still looks good.
it looks good, but it's one that like I find once you've played a game with it on, it's kind of you don't really want to play it with it off, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Um, I'm quite happy to play games without it on, to be quite honest. But once you've got that option, I
Yeah.
find it's really nice to have. Apart from it is a huge performance hit. It really, really is. And I think that's where with the RTX cards, it really helps with the DLSS.
Yeah.
With all the AI to, it brings resolution down, but it uses the AI to make it look as good or better than the native resolution. I think that's quite a good technology because I think I did actually try it with the DLSS off and I was struggling to get 30 FPS. It was bloody
Yeah.
awful. So, yeah, it's quite interesting to see if you compare the PC version to the consoles, obviously that doesn't have the ray tracing, but just the graphical difference between the PC and the console version, and the frame rates that the consoles are having to put up with, which is very jarring. You know, running at like 20 FPS a lot of the time, it's not great. I feel like us guys on the show at the minute are quite lucky, you know, to be in that position where we've got decent PCs and we've been able to play it. You know.
Oh,
Yeah.
I picked the right time to play it as well, because like on the 23rd, like 'cause my graphics card was quote unquote only a 980 Ti,
Yeah.
which so it's still kicked a lot of ass. It died on the 23rd of December.
Oh, you're joking. That's
So,
bullshit, man. Oh my
man.
god.
So I'm on a borrowed 660 at the minute. So no
Oh, that's
more
even
free
worse.
I know, but it's, I was like, okay, maybe I can fork out some money. And as I was looking around, like as I was going to start looking for prices, luckily I'd finished Cyberpunk by the time this happened. But it
Ah,
was like
okay.
a meme where it was like the calm panic face, where it was just like GPU prices skyrocket, panic,
Yep.
but
Yep.
your
Yep.
GPU works, calm. Oh no, it's broken. It's like, oh.
So what have you got now then?
Just a 660 Ti, and I'm
So
just
you're
gonna have
still
to wait for
using that at the
GPU
minute?
prices to settle. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's a weird place to be in because obviously you got the 30 series and the new AMD cards as well, and they're priced very reasonably compared to previous gens, and but the
And they're
problem
not
is
out of stock.
you can't fucking get one. So all the previous card, like the 20 series cards, etc., are still holding their value really, really well. So
It's like, oh,
yeah.
we've got 5 of them in stock. They're £679 and 99 pence. I'm like, no, no. They're zero because I'm not getting them.
It's mad. It is mad.
Ugh.
What was your experience, Sly? Because I know you're rocking a 1080, aren't you?
Yeah. Well, as you would know, I had to drop it to 1080p to run it on high, and
Hmm.
I got 60 frames when I ran it on high.
Hmm.
It was, yeah. So I played the first probably 5 hours of the game at 1440p on like medium,
Yep.
and it was pretty choppy.
Yep.
And after the prologue, when it was when I was like, okay, hang on, new graphics drivers have been installed, and it said, optimization for Cyberpunk. So I went in
Yep.
and looked at the recommended, and that's when I was like, all right, let's try 1080 at high. And after that prologue, my experience was vastly better. Kind of wish I'd have started like that, but oh well. It takes experimentation to find your settings.
Yeah, yeah, and that's the joys of PC gaming, right? You can tailor the experience to what suits you, whereas obviously on the consoles, it's you play with what you're given, which for most people that's how you want to game, right? But I do think console gamers have been given the short end of the stick on this particular game from some of the stuff I read. I think I mentioned in the past that Colin is playing it on a base Xbox One, launch one, and he was enjoying the game for a while, but he said to me that he stopped playing it now because just that the performance is just not good enough for him to carry on. He's going to wait for a Series X now, and then he'll carry on playing it. And then what's quite interesting is obviously apparently it runs okay on the PS5 and the Series X, but what people need to remember is that's the PS4 and Xbox One versions. The next gen version of the game isn't even out on the consoles yet. So it just seems that Cyberpunk have really, that CD Projekt Red, sorry, have really concentrated on the PC version over everything else because they are primarily a PC developer first and console second. And even on the PC, I don't think. I mean, I enjoyed the game. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think that quality was quite there at launch. I still think it needs probably another few months really to patch out some of the issues that the game is seeing. Don't know if you guys agree with me on that or not.
Yeah.
On the consoles, it needs the patch.
100%, 100%.
Yeah, that's.
PC, it's playable.
Yeah. I mean, Turner, you've got a 2080 Ti, right? And
Yep.
I think you've. Did you play with any of the ray tracing or anything, or did you not bother? Or is it something
Yeah.
that not
No,
interests
so
you? Or...
I turned the ray tracing on. It ran. I was able to get 60
Yep.
But I definitely noticed if you turn ray tracing off, you can get them to like the 80s or 90s. But
Yeah.
the DLSS really comes in, just saves the day for my card when putting the ray tracing on.
Yeah. It's quite. I would love to hear some more people's thoughts on the console version, but I think a lot of people have kind of just put it down now and are waiting for next gen updates. But I think we've talked enough about glitches and graphics now. Shall we get into the main story, the game
Yeah.
itself? I mean, I really love the game. I think the main pull for me was the main storyline, but some of the side missions as well were so well done. They really were. But what was quite interesting, I mean, I know everyone's got their own. At the start of the game, you create your own character, and I'm a bit of a prude, so I didn't make a willy or anything like that. I had my dude with pants on. So
I was the same. I got through the customization and it got to the junk options.
Yeah.
And I just sort of rolled my eyes. I'm like, really?
The thing is, it doesn't even.
It never comes up.
no,
Yeah, it never comes up in the game, so it doesn't
Technically,
really.
one mission, a side mission, where the most obvious hoodwink happens, where it's the like obligatory Deus Ex style. Oh, you've been thrown in a closet and all your gear's been stolen. Quest.
yeah.
Which would have probably needed a significantly better hook than a guy offers you a dodgy brain dance.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's this cool brain dance, bro, but you need to use my software to run. I'm like, well, now I have to because it's a video game, but this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So, did you guys play as men or ladies, or a mixture of both?
As a woman.
Okay.
Yeah, I played as a dude.
Yeah.
I put this guy.
Cool. I played as a dude as well. It was quite interesting. So throughout the game, obviously, you can have some love interest, right? So you got Judy, who everyone seems to like the best, but she ends up being a lesbian, so you can't romance her unless you're a lady V.
Unless you're me.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm guessing Sly really enjoyed that.
Well, I did. I wanted to romance Pan Am, but I couldn't because she's straight.
Fair enough. Yeah, I thought the actual sex scene with Panam was a bit shit, to be honest, in the tank. I was like,
In the tank.
Do it in
Yeah.
the tank? I
yeah.
didn't bother with any of the romance stuff.
Oh,
Yeah.
Best
okay.
bit about the tank sex
This-
scene is that their nervous systems are hooked in
Yeah,
together to be in sync.
Oh, it's the
Yeah.
Avatar meme.
the tank apparently amplifies all your feelings or some
Yeah.
shit.
Yeah. But I actually feel like when I got to the end of the game, I felt like doing those side missions for the characters was more, especially for your love interest, was kind of more of a requirement, to be honest. I felt like if I'd got to the end of the game and not done them, I would have been missing out big time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys spec into any crazy builds? Because some of the builds are pretty fun in the game.
I did a pretty weird one.
It
Which,
sort of went all over the place.
yeah, like I sort of went a little bit into stealth, and then I got the sort of the stacks of like extra damage and crit chance when you get like stealth kills.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because you get the really dumb suppressed sniper rifle from Pan Am, the Overwatch.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the second I got that, and I missed and did 14 million damage.
Wow.
I'm like, I need to spec this out.
Yeah, I upgraded that the whole way through the game
Oh,
once I got that
so
sniper.
Nice.
I
stupid.
just kept upgrading it.
By the end, I was doing like multiple millions of damage on a headshot, and it has an unlisted trait where it ignores cover.
Oh,
So-
brilliant.
So I was just stealth killing with the sniper, and then the second somebody spotted me, I had like 5 million stacks of the fuck off juice.
Cold blood or whatever.
Yeah, so I just bodied people and just went into revolver because then, spoiler, you can get Johnny's handgun. in what is probably my
Yeah.
favorite scene, where he recognizes the sound of his own gun.
Yes, yeah. So let's just talk about. I mean, Johnny Silverhand is. I think the characterization is done really really well by Keanu Reeves. When I first saw the trailers, obviously wasn't sure what his role in the game would be, and I felt the whole premise of him being on that chip in your head and you can't take it out, and he's slowly taking over your mind is actually quite an interesting storyline, to be honest. And I think, the way he pops up throughout the game, and especially in side missions as well, they put a lot of effort into him just in side missions, which obviously can be easily missed, which I think is which is a really cool thing. And I just like that relationship, how it builds throughout the game, because obviously at the beginning your character just hates him, but they actually build quite a good bond throughout the game, I felt. And that relationship and the conversations they have throughout the game is I feel a very well realized, to be quite honest with you.
Yeah.
You know.
I found myself crashing my car a lot because I would stop and turn to look at Johnny while going at 200 miles an hour. Just like, so Johnny, what do you have to say about this mission? Well, I think the corpo is a massive. Oh Jesus!
So what did you start off as? Did you go Street Kid, Corpo, or what was the other one? Wastelander or
Nomad.
something? Nomad.
Yeah, no.
I went Corpo.
Corpo.
Yeah, Corpo as well.
Oh, so I went Street Kid. So what's the difference? So how did your game start then? I haven't looked at the.
So we started at the. What was the company? Oh, I can't remember.
Arasaka.
Arasaka. So we started as an Arasaka employee.
Oh, okay. That can make things interesting then for that mission.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
basically
never really comes up.
Yeah, I know it
Oh.
is a bit weird, but basically the CEO drags you into his office and offers you a job to go make a hit,
Yeah.
and basically someone finds out about it and comes, and you get that scene
you're
where you
missing the
fall
best
asleep
bit.
basically and reboot yourself, and they steal all your stuff.
When you the corpo guy you go in to meet is having a feud with another his boss basically.
Yeah.
But the first scene of him you see is he's looking at like a big James Bond villain screen, and there's a bunch of people around a table having a shady
Aren't they from NASA
smoke-filled
or something?
smoke-filled room meeting, and they all just get electrocuted and murdered. And he sits down at his desk, and his boss comes on the screen behind him. And is like, "Why did you just kill the European Space Council?" It's just like, what the?
Yeah.
Oh my!
Did you do the side mission where he comes back like way later into the game?
Oh, it's not him. It's the guy you meet outside. I think is that guy. Unless you can find him.
Oh, okay. Well, I was under the assumption that one of the guys, it was your boss that told you to do the hit at the start. That I re-met probably like 50 hours later.
Yeah, because there was a guy 50 hours later who I met. He's right in front of his office, and then
No.
and he was asking me "Hey, do you have 5 minutes?" I'm like, "No, eat shit, guy. I need to go talk to my boss. He's gonna probably kill me." And I was right, because apparently he's killing the European Space Council.
I had a completely different thing to that because I met him back by a bunch of dumpsters.
Yeah, I also met a guy and then the guy that I'm talking about, I met by dumpsters. And he's like, "Oh, if I take you in, then maybe I can get my job back."
Yeah, I thought that was the CEO.
Well, for me, it was the guy who I met outside that guy's.
I never met a guy outside.
It's one of
That's
your
weird to me.
co-workers at the
Yeah.
Corpo.
Because I can't remember
Okay.
what his name is. His name's Jack or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to. You meet him in an alleyway, right? And he
Yeah, he
Yeah.
puts
sends you
something
stuff
underneath
in.
a bin, or you got to push a bin
Yeah,
out
that's
of the
it.
way.
There's a drive under a bin. Yeah.
In what is probably the worst corpo scam ever, because the whole thing is that it's supposed to be a pre-recorded message, "Oh, I've got info on this corpo guy. And if I don't make it out alive, I've sent you this message. The problem is, like, V says, like, wait a minute, aren't you such and such? And he responds. It's like, yeah, I'm that guy that you know. It's like, oh, it can't be pre-recorded if you've just responded to a live question. This is obviously a trap. It is weird because, like, stuff like that. It's like I don't know whether that's a good thing that's a silly setup or a bad thing that it's a silly setup because it is a trap, right? Like, is
Yeah.
that a hint that it's a trap or is it just like a weird one line is an error? I don't know. I prefer to think it's the first.
So how did you meet Jackie then? Is because I want to know if
In a
those are
nightclub.
different in a nightclub.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you meet him in the nightclub that Judy works at.
Oh, okay.
And it's the scene in the trailer where you land in like one of the AVs and there's the guys playing basketball and you can just like punch the dude in the face.
Oh, because my intro to the game was completely different. I was a street kid, so my first so at the beginning of the game I had to work. I worked for this dude, and I got to steal a car, like a
Okay.
really pricey car. So I ended up going to this garage and paying off this dude to tell me where who run in the garage to open the door for the garage. So, but then as soon as I go to the car and open the car door, Jackie turns up. Obviously, I've not met him before, and puts a gun to my head and says, "Oh, I'm taking this car, bitch." And then you have an argument, because both of you are on a job to steal this car for different people. But then the cops turn up, and then you're both arrested, and then you become friends, and then the game starts. This is the very short version of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
From
can't
what I've
imagine
heard,
Jackie
the
doing that, which is weird because obviously we get a very different sense of who Jackie is because he's like a trusted guy
Yeah.
who we meet in a
from
shady nightclub.
from what I've heard, apparently the Nomad version is the most fleshed out story wise. So it'd
Okay.
be nice to
Given
go
the
back and
ending,
give that a go.
not surprising.
Yeah, that is weird because
Yeah,
I
so
think
from
it's weird because most people I talk to went street kids, so it's quite interesting to hear that you guys went corpo.
That universally went corpo. The only 3 people who ever went corpo.
yeah, just the whole idea of corpo just speaks to me. Don't know what it says about me, but
I was hoping
love
it would
the
make me start
corpo.
off rich.
All of the
Yeah.
corpo dialogue options are like super genre savvy as well, which I
Oh, really?
yeah, there's a lot of like situations where like you can just have a one-to-one conversation with people that flows quite well, which as somebody who quite likes cyberpunk genre stuff, it felt sort of like a nice way in where the
Okay.
character is sort of on the same page as what my expectations are, where it's like that guy is clearly not to be trusted because he has a license plate with a company logo on it. And the guy goes, "You shouldn't
Yeah,
trust
yeah.
that guy. He's a corpo. It says so on his license plate." And I'm like, boom.
Nice. So, just talk about your playthrough then, guys. Just about how you found the story of the main campaign, the side missions. What you thought of the gigs as well. Yeah.
did anyone do the cop side quest?
Oh,
Yeah.
brilliant.
Is that
Yeah.
River? Is that his
What do you
name?
think about the ending of that one?
I
I
didn't like that he wanted to get gay with me.
Yeah.
On the note of like characters, I felt like a lot of the romance options just came out of like, "Hey, you look sad," and they like Commander Shepard style just turn to you like, "You want to bang?" Like, no, dude, I just
Yeah.
want to make sure you're okay. Or like, "Hey, Pan Am, I noticed that your like adoptive father just got kidnapped. Are you cool? Want to bang?" No, like, there's a traumatic incident that just happened. We just killed 50 people. Are you okay?
Yeah. Yeah, the whole farm scene where that guy was kidnapping gay
Oh,
kids or
yeah.
whatever. That
Yeah.
and like hooking them up to some weird machine on the
Yeah.
farm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Very
good though.
weird.
I really enjoyed
Yeah, it
that.
was
I
good.
really enjoyed this mission
It was a
because
nice mission.
I enjoyed his side quests because it felt very fleshed out. You know, you go to his sister's place, you have dinner there, and then she's got a couple of kids, and then you play this game with them, that kind of VR game where you're shooting
Did
the
you beat
bad
the
guys.
kids or let them win?
No, I let them win because I'm
Same.
nice. Yeah, I really like that. I thought, it just made it feel more real, and this is sort of and that's a recurring thing that I found with the game. All the characters felt fleshed out. They felt very real, and even after even when you're not doing missions with them, or when you finish doing missions with them, those characters will randomly text you, as
Yeah.
well, and you have like little conversations. It just made the world feel a lot more real to me, and made me care about those characters a lot more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed those cop missions. I thought they were really, really good. The other ones I really liked was the Delamain ones.
Yeah.
Because even though he's an AI, he felt to me like a real person. You have the conversations with him, and then you have the side missions to get his cars back, and they all have their own kind of little personalities because they've come off his network. And all of those are very, very interesting. And
Did
then go on.
Oh, I was just saying, did you read the emails? Because there's so much story in that. If you read the emails on the computers when you bust into Delamain's factory.
Oh no, I don't really recall the emails, to be honest.
I was
Ah,
I don't
okay.
think I did.
It was basically people were talking because the people were just talking about AI is coming to take our jobs, and
Yeah,
it was pretty fleshed out. But
yeah.
they were right.
Oh.
He did take their jobs.
Take our jobs.
so I don't think there's actually any. Delamain is his own thing, right? He controls himself. He's not
Yeah.
owned by a company.
No,
So
no.
He is one of the few free AI.
basically, yeah, but they brought him in, the people, and then he basically just took over in the
Yeah.
emails. That's what I got the idea
Oh,
of.
okay. So what did you do at the end of his missions? Because you have one where he says he's got a virus on the system, and then you go into his place and you get a
Well,
choice at the
I
end, right?
I couldn't have the other choice because I hadn't specced into the
Yeah, I didn't have enough in.
technology or whatever to do it. So I only had one
Oh,
choice I
okay.
could pick
So what was your choice then?
to reset him.
What? Oh, so he. Oh, that's what I did as well. Because I wanted him
Yeah.
just,
Ah,
but
There's
because
a
I wanted to
choice.
reset him, but because I liked him. you know.
I did another ending.
Oh, okay. Well, tell us about that then.
I did the high intelligence ending where you can merge all the personalities into one.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. You have to have like 10 intelligence, I think, to do it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which is quite the investment, considering how early you can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was like
Yeah.
one of the first quests I started doing.
Because
Oh,
all it requires is for you to just wander around in a car and
yeah.
do like basically a little mini racing challenge.
Yeah.
But
I really like
I,
that because at the end he gives you a car. So I was like, oh,
He
great, I've
does.
got
I
a
was
car.
disappointed though because I thought the car was going to be some like self-driving combat type thing, and it was just a normal car. So I'm like, that's a bit
Yeah.
sad.
I felt even more disappointed because so I didn't have the high intelligence, so it was so I couldn't merge them. So I either had to reset him or like blow the shackles off,
Yes.
to, like
Yep.
separate the personalities. And I
Yep.
chose the rock star Johnny Silverhand path, and I shot Delamain in the face.
Yeah. All right. So what
And
happened to the personalities then?
So you go back. So as you're going outside, Johnny points out that everything is completely silent for the most part. And as you go outside, you see all the cars, and they're all orderly, like lined up, and they properly zipper their way through. And they merge their lanes correctly and leave, except for the
Oh.
one that just wants to run everybody over.
Oh no.
Right out the gate. And then there is one car left, and you go down, you get in the car.
Yeah.
And it is a younger sounding Delamain who calls himself Excelsior. And it's basically like Delamain has a little mini AI son called Excelsior, whose prerogative is to like extend the Excelsior package to like beyond Delamain's death to all of the people who are listed on the client list, which includes
okay.
you. So you get the car anyway. Except the Excelsior package in the opening scene of the game was able to
Yeah.
withstand an AV minigun, and this
Yeah.
one explodes if you hit anything.
Ah,
So,
Yeah, because if you think about the first main mission where you're in that car and you're being chased or whatever, the car's made to look to be like this insane, like Knight Rider type car, but
yeah.
didn't happen in the end when you're driving it yourself.
Ah, okay. So what other side missions did shall we talk about then? So we've got
We talk about the Jesus movie, please.
Oh yeah, okay.
what?
Did you do
you
this
didn't
quest?
do the
Because I asked
side
you
mission?
about it. Yeah, I don't think you did it.
Oh, okay.
So
Alright,
the one we were talking about with the cop car that you're chasing.
yeah. Well, so you're following a target. You get this guy. He's basically a garbage man, and he's like, "Look, I'm gonna pay you to drive and not ask questions." So you follow
Yep.
this car. There's a
Yep.
prisoner, and he wants to shoot them.
Yeah, I did
And
that. Yep. Yep.
oh, okay, you did do that. All right.
Yep.
So yeah, you find out that this prisoner is basically like he's on death row. He's like
Yep.
repenting. He's making amends with all these like people that he's hurt, like the families of his victims and stuff. And through a series of events, you can choose to be a participant in making a movie with him.
You could say that.
Oh, okay.
They film it and they release it. It's a movie.
Well, it's not a movie; it's a brain dance, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah. Brain dance. Yeah.
So
So in what's one of the most disturbing side missions I think I've played in any game, the crucifixion of Christ is recreated, and it's real blood.
Did you
Ooh.
nail his hands to the cross, or
I did the whole thing.
okay?
I didn't walk away. It lets you walk away at any point. You can walk
Yeah,
away.
I walked away, but then just some random camera guy just took over and just started finished the
I
job.
did the whole thing, and I felt gross doing it every single time.
Yeah, I didn't do the nails, but I stayed with them.
Are you even allowed to
all
leave?
I didn't get any of this. I did the mission where you chase the cop car and there's a dude who he wants to kill. I killed the dude, went off, and that was the end of the missions.
I think
didn't
you're
get any
thinking of
more.
a different mission.
Oh, must do.
Nah,
It
so
must be.
no, you can kill that guy, and I think that the quest just ends.
Ah,
Oh, I killed
because
him.
you go to
man.
a diner and talk to him about religion and stuff.
Oh,
Yeah, so Webby, when you got to that part where you're like the car pulls over, did you just shoot the car up and leave?
yeah.
Yeah, so I think that just cuts
Fair
the
enough.
quest. So if you do that, you don't
Oh.
the quest stops there. But if you don't kill the cop, a whole new quest starts.
Okay, makes sense. Makes
Yeah.
sense, dude. Makes sense. Cool.
Because I had the same thing. Because first, I was under the assumption, oh, I'm just supposed to kill this guy. But then I realized, oh wait, I shouldn't do that. So I restarted the mission.
Okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
I had
okay.
It was really weird because oh, go follow that unmarked car, and I'm like, okay, this is really suspicious. And we get there, and the car magically crashes into like a truck that is just driving in the wrong lane or something.
Yeah.
And then the cop gets out, and I'm like, what is going on? Who is this guy?
Yeah, so if you don't walk up to the cop and just start shooting, yeah, you won't get the rest of the quest.
Yeah, because if you
Mm.
don't shoot, you get like a sort of Hollywood
Cutscene.
movie, like
Yeah.
like hands up, don't get any closer, like scene. I'm just stood there with a sniper rifle, like 180 meters away, like I'm not gonna shoot a cop in the face. This is clearly witness protection gone wrong, and I was wrong. Not witness protection gone wrong.
Okay. So what was it? So we've got a couple more. So you've got the Judy ones, which were really, really good, I thought. Obviously, if you played as a female V, it ended up probably a lot different. I like those missions, and I liked the ending. You know, where you you know, where you go scuba diving and you find out more about her
Yeah.
backstory. I thought that just made her feel a lot more real as well, to find out about, you know, just her backstory and why she kind of is like she is, etc. You know.
What
Yeah.
I remember from that mission is there's I think it's in the police one with River where you're doing the investigation. In one
Yeah.
of the TVs in the school in the brain dance, it
Yeah.
mentions a city going underwater. And
Yeah.
I'm like, and then I play Judy's mission and I go,
Yeah.
hang on a second, I've heard about this. That's some good world building there.
Yeah, I did those missions like the other way around. I did Judy's mission first. So I
I did
found out about the
Rivers.
place underwater, but then like later on, like that, because she's like, oh yeah, like 10, 15 years ago, this like place was underwater. But then there's like later on, there's this guy. They've got no idea where his backstory is, or where he came from, or why he is the way he is. I said, well, yeah, because his whole like early like first 25 years of his life have just been like sunk by a dam. What's it called? Like
Yeah.
Laguna something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ben.
Yeah.
The benefit of playing Rivers mission first, where you're watching the guy's brain dance, is you watch that on a TV when like he's a kid in school.
Oh.
So I remembered that detail, and then I did Judy's mission, and you go under the water, and you're like, hang on a second, this is the flooded city that I remember hearing about.
Yeah.
That's a cool bit of world building there.
Yeah.
One thing I don't know if you guys noticed or not, but just related to that mission, there's like a character. There's, hang on, let me get my head straight. So River's nephew, right? Is that who?
The kid that got kidnapped.
Yeah, the kid that
Yep,
got
yep.
kidnapped. So he was in like a bunch of his emails were going like, I forget what her name is, like begins with like an N, like some like girl beginning with N.
Mhm.
But in the brain dance of that you go through to find out more about the history of the serial killer, the one where he's a kid in the barn, there is the shadow of a woman behind like the sort of see-through plastic like flytrap door. And if you go into the third person version of the brain dance and you scan that person, they have the same name as the girl that River's nephew was emailing. And it's just never mentioned.
Oh, okay. That's
I
weird.
didn't notice that.
And I'm so confused 'cause I'm like, the person is like in shot. How is the like? And then he goes through and there's no person there, and it's like, how does V not mention that there's like a glitch in the brain dance where this like person that you can't interact with who just vanishes, that has the same name as another person linked to the case. And now I'm curious if there's other brain dancers that have other weird like glitches like that, or if that's like an Easter egg and means something.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't even notice that if there was a woman.
Like I assume it's a woman, because at first I assumed it was going to be like the kid's mum, but then it like opens the slats and there's just nobody there.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, that's weird.
What did you guys think of the boss fights in the game?
Oda's was sick. Cyborg Ninja fight was amazing.
My build was just so strong that I was just one-shotting these bosses, so it was kind of anticlimactic.
I fought him when I was level like 16, so I was not that overpowered at that point. That was the point where I realized I shouldn't have done quite so much of the main missions in a row.
Yeah. Because I did basically all the side stuff first, and then only when I ran out of side quests, I'd then go back to the main stuff.
I didn't realize how far into the main missions that I got until I did I can't remember what that mission's called, but it's the one with the like Japantown.
Yeah.
Like float.
You're helping Takamura.
You gotta take out the snipers. Yeah.
Yeah. And then like what would you call that guy? The ninja guy?
It's something Oda. I forget what his first name is.
Yeah, Netrunner.
He's like
they call him Netrunner, don't they?
No,
I don't think he wasn't a Netrunner. He was like a bodyguard.
And then he like cyborg ninjas through like a window or something.
Yeah, but my crit build just he died in like 5 seconds.
Oh, I had the ability to double jump, so it was like this, and I
Oh, I
got his
meleeed
armor.
him to death.
Yeah, and I had like a sword, so we were like double jumping around the rafters, having like honorable, like Nippon Steel folded 10,000 times katana duel,
Yeah.
which was ridiculously hard because he moves way too fast.
Yeah. I had the gun that would track their bullets would track.
I didn't really go too much into the smart weapons.
Yeah, I built that and just the crits was just insane. He just vanished.
I was just doing sniper rifles, revolvers, and swords. There's not too many good like smart weapon, like the smart sniper rifles. Is there a smart sniper rifle, or is there just tech sniper rifles?
I'm not sure. You definitely had the snipers that could shoot through walls. They were pretty broken.
Yeah, they were really dumb.
Sorry, guys. I had my boy was in here, so I was just trying to get him out.
No, that's fine.
But
Actually, I'm going to be a hypocrite. How dare you?
oh no. So one of my favourite weapons in the game was to do with the side quest was the Skippy Gun.
Yes.
Didn't do that one, but I've seen it.
I wish there
Oh,
was
so good.
like more stuff with Skippy.
Yeah, but later on, I don't know if you got the side quest. There's a quest to give him back to his owner.
Oh, I never found that.
Yeah, it's the owner's
have
one
to
of the
shoot
people who
50
gives you the
people with it.
gigs. Is one of the people that gives you the gigs.
Ah.
Yeah,
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 the criteria for that one, I've seen it on YouTube, so I know it works. You have to shoot
Mm.
50 people with the gun
Ah.
to unlock the side unlock that part.
Oh, that's probably why I'm not because I use Skippy loads. Really,
Yeah, I
really
haven't
cool.
got him.
I mean the gigs in general. I did quite a lot. Then I got to a point where I just felt like they were kind of just filler, because I didn't really have any good story to them. Really, a lot of them were just like, I'll go to this place, grab something, and get out, or kill some dudes or whatever. So I kind of lost interest in doing the gigs. So that's why I concentrated on all the side quests. Which
Yeah,
are
the
which
side
are
jobs are way more fleshed out.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'd say my favourite was the Pan Am ones. To be honest, I felt that storyline was the most fleshed out, in my opinion,
Yeah.
of the side quests. I really enjoyed them. Just all the people, out in the middle of nowhere, and the storyline and all that was really really good. But you guys were talking about the main campaign. I actually thought it was quite short. I actually want to know how short, like, if you just blasted through the main campaign, I reckon you could probably do it in about 10 hours. That's how short I think it was. I felt like I did, most of because I did just over 60 hours, and I'll probably, 50 hours of that was probably just side mission bollocks and just dicking around. That's how it felt like, anyway.
Yeah.
I feel like you wouldn't understand most of the story if you didn't do the side stuff though.
Yeah.
It's like the side stuff's pretty important story wise, at least I thought.
I guess it depends
Certainly Pan
on
Am's
how.
first.
Like, I think if you do the Arasaka ending, I don't think too much plays into that
Yeah.
ending. But like if you've not done Pan Am's quest, then
Mhm.
like that makes going up to Pan Am and being like, "Hey, do you want to take down Arasaka?" really awkward at best. It's like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, I'd love to, but like Saul is like still in a pit, like somewhere in the Badlands.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Oh,
So I've got some issues going on here
it's alright.
with my stream. It's like, I think we're back. Yeah. Carry on.
Oh,
Apologies.
Who here managed to save Takamura?
I didn't even have that option because
No, I didn't have that option either.
Because I have a friend who saved Takamura, and I didn't know you could because I tried several ways, and the game was like, no, you've got to leave, moron.
Yeah, I
Really?
tried to save him too, and I don't know which path you have to take to get to him, but I was like, surely I can help him, and I was like running around, I couldn't figure out where he was, and I was like, oh, fuck it. I was like, the game clearly doesn't want me to save him, so I'll leave.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because
But you
I
can.
had
I've
the...
pinned it on YouTube.
You definitely can. And so the two ways that I tried, because remember, I had the chargeable jump. So I was like, oh, I've fallen through the floor.
Oh, you didn't go for the
That
double
can't-
jump?
No, I went for the chargeable jump instead.
Oh,
Because Spider-Man 2 was the best game. And that has a chargeable jump, not a double jump.
Is there any difference in the height or not?
I don't think so. So I just went, oh, I can just charge the jump and I'll just go back up onto the floor. I don't care who's up there. I'm like, Johnny main character. I'll just kill everybody. Hit an invisible wall, set myself on fire. Like, okay, well, clearly I can't do that. What if I jump because there's parkour. What if I just jump one floor up? Oh, look, there's a door there. It's got a green light on it. Maybe I can... No, I can't open the door. I can't interact with the door.
Yeah.
It's clearly just been painted onto the wall, like Scooby-Doo style. So, okay, I guess I'll just leave. And the second I get outside, I ring Takamura. The phone's dead. Well, guess he's dead. Guess there was no way I could have saved him. As I'm running outside constantly, Johnny's like, "Don't worry, don't look back. He's dead, but you couldn't do anything." I'm like, well, I guess he's speaking in the past tense, so maybe I guess the game is telling me something. But apparently, there's just a hole in the wall you can go through, and then there's a corridor.
Yeah,
I was
Oh,
like,
that's what
Okay.
I
kidding?
saw on YouTube. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
so we could have
Interesting.
saved him.
Yeah, it's like here's three
All
different.
right.
It's
He wouldn't have
levels of
liked what
pain.
ending I chose anyway. So
Apparently, if you don't go for the Arasaka ending, he calls up in the credits and he just calls you a bitch.
yeah, all right. Well, he wouldn't have liked the ending I chose because I didn't choose his. I didn't choose that ending.
Oh, just talking about side quests, I think we skipped one big one that I really liked.
Pan Am's one.
We talked about Pan Am briefly.
Yeah, we did.
The one with the husband and wife, and the
Oh,
husband's
yeah.
running for
Oh,
is a
yes.
politician.
Oh, that was such a cool. That was like a spy
good one.
movie. That one. That was a
Yeah.
conspiracy.
I think that quest runs into the problems that we're starting to hear with the sort of semi-development hell, because that quest chain ended quite abruptly for me in a very weird way.
Yeah, I feel like we may have had the same thing.
So what happened for you?
So
yeah.
so you get the original quest to with the politician guy, and you go through the brain dance stuff. He calls you later. You go back, and something is amiss. And you find all the stuff in his house. You do the investigation, and when I went to speak to him later, and you get the option, like, and his wife is like, "Oh, I've been suspicious the entire time. Don't tell my husband." And I'm like, "No, I'm telling your husband." And then you get the phone call from the creepy, like, AI, maybe, or like a modulated voice from somebody. And I'm like, "You can't hurt me. I'm the main character." Told the guy, and then you just get like a creepy text like a couple hours later, where he's just like, "These guys will never get away with this." It's like, what, do you want me to do something about it? Like.
Because it's really weird, isn't it? That there's like a secret room in the house, and people are like messing with their minds and changing their personalities, and it's all kind of messed
I don't
up.
think it's people. It's meant to be like a sentient AI or something.
Yeah.
It's hinted that like maybe there is more to it than just like a gang. That like the gang might have been. There's a lot of like stuff involving the sort of background lore that I don't think gets touched on very much. Where it's like there's a couple quests, and it's tied into the main stuff like, around the Voodoo Boys and how the Voodoo Boys play around with the Black Wall, which is host to like all these like weird like unshackled AI and like file demons from the old net, and the only thing stopping them is a NAF $5 NetEase router that the Voodoo Boys keep plugging and unplugging to do their port forwarding on, and nobody likes them. And
Like you go to that part of town, and it feels like you're gone as soon as you get there.
yeah, it's a bit. And then it's like, oh, maybe there's an AI, and it's like, that sounds like a really interesting storyline. I wonder where this goes. And you are going to be waiting a long time because it just never really resolves. Which is a shame because that is one of the cooler mysteries that you can put in a cyberpunk game, right? Like, it's all about corporate versus political intrigue, and this is the only character, as far as I'm aware, that is like a bastion of like government. Like all the other main characters are like a corporate character, or they're the sort of like, not to get like uber super political, but they're just sort of like the consumer class, I guess. It's like a guy who like scavenges parts for cars, who has a very interesting backstory, but like they're not a politician, like they're not running a corporation. They've got like a limited like amount of stuff they can do. This guy's gonna like take on the corporate elites and the corrupt politicians, and he's in the game for like a mission and a half, which seems weird.
Yeah, no, it's not. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. Some stuff definitely feels like they could have. It just needed a little bit more time, but
Yeah.
like the did you do the whole car racing side missions
Yeah, I did.
for the barmaid?
Feel like
Oh,
there should
yes,
have
I
been a
did.
romance option for Claire, but
Well, Claire was
Yeah.
actually a
I like that she
transgender,
did that.
wasn't she? She used to be
Yeah.
a man, which I thought was quite interesting because I was like, because I did think when I met her, I thought, just she looks quite manly, but I'm not quite sure. And then she tells you, I was like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, it did feel like
I think
there should have been.
it just tells you though, because I thought they did a really good job of with like Judy, where like I knew the second she was in a room with is it Evelyn?
Yes, yeah, just the way they
The second they
interacted.
were in a room, I'm like, these two have banged.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
there is clearly more to this relationship. Like
they have
at no point,
definitely scissored.
like at no point did they feel the need to have one of the two characters just turn and go, by the way, I'm not into guys. Like,
Yeah,
or,
yeah.
But then with like Claire, there's more than like I won't say there's more than enough hints. The only like overt hint is the trans flag on the back of the truck.
Yeah.
But she
Okay,
just
I
sort
never
of,
even
like,
noticed that.
but she just sort of turns to you and then goes like, before my I forget what the exact line is like, but before like my like gender reassignment surgery.
Yeah,
And I'm
something
just
like that.
seems like really like overt and a bit weird, considering not necessarily that it's like bad or like took me out of the game or anything. It was just weird having it be that overt when
Oh.
they were so good about the subtle cues of other characters. Like I didn't need somebody to turn to the camera and like tell me explicitly.
Yeah, I know what you're saying, but I thought her side missions were really good, and I really liked the whole story behind the racing as well. It wasn't just, oh yeah, we're doing some races. You know, it was about her ex.
Did you end up
you know,
killing the guy or not?
yeah, I killed that motherfucker. Fuck
Okay,
him.
because apparently, if you don't kill him, she
Yeah.
hates you for the rest of the game. Every time if you go into the bar, you know she always like says hi and stuff.
Yeah.
Apparently, if you don't kill him, she just ignores you completely.
Oh, that's
Oh,
not what
okay.
happened for me, because I was like, no, like, because the explanation he gives is like, no, like the your husband was not as good a driver as you think he is. This is a race where people die. This is like a racing thing where like people die all the time. Like I didn't try to kill him. Like it was just how the race like went out. And I'm like, really? Is this gonna like bring your husband back? And she's like, nah, maybe not. We start walking away and she just turns around, blows his head off, and then like we have a sullen drive back to the thing. And the next time I'm back in the club, she was like, hey, want a drink? So I got like a more middle of the road.
Fair
yeah, I
enough.
think we must have done it the same way because you follow him off the off ramp, crashes his car, and you both pull your gun on him, and I think you get the choice to do it yourself. But I was like, oh, I don't want to shoot this guy. She can do it if she wants, and then she pops him in the head, and I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
I wasn't that
Fine.
sad about it. I was like,
S-
eh.
uh,
Like,
c-
oh no,
because you don't
What do you get if you? Did anyone win the race?
Finish the
Does
race.
anyone
Yeah,
know-
I think
what do
if you finish
what
the
do you
race,
get
she
if you
never
win?
talks to you.
That
But
must
do
be
you
like
get
the
money?
sweet,
Well, she
I have no idea.
well she gave me her car.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the car.
Yeah,
get a car.
that was good enough for me. That was awesome.
It's a
Did
beast
you guys?
car.
So just talking about cars, did you guys all get Johnny's Porsche?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got that in an interesting way because, from what I understand, if you outright kill the guy, you don't find out about the Porsche. You have to let him
Okay.
live to get the Porsche.
Well, I didn't let him live. So what I did is
Technically,
So what I did,
I
yeah, go on. Sorry.
so I told him I'd let him live. He hands me the key to the cargo container. Then I blew his face off.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
same.
what I did.
And then Rogue is getting like pissy at me. It's like, oh, I can't believe you let him live. And then I overtake her as I leave in Johnny's car.
Brilliant. It's brilliant. I love that. And then obviously you get Johnny's gun at some point in the game as well, which is cool.
Yeah, that
So-
guy had it for me. I don't know if there's another way you can get it.
Got it off of him
yeah,
because
yeah,
because
yeah.
while you're in the fight with him, he's like, I recognize that sound.
Yes,
What?
that's
I
it.
recognize that sound anywhere. Malorian 365, custom made for me.
Brilliant.
That gun's amazing. I still use it whenever I pop on for the play a bit of the game. That's a great pistol.
It
Mm,
is.
it is
Like, it's
good.
another gun that says ricochet, but what it means is shoots through all cover when you aim down sight.
Brilliant. Yeah. Is there anything else you guys want to mention? Obviously, we will need to talk about the endings.
Yeah.
Yes.
One thing I do want to say is one thing I like about the game is the different choices have a lot of different outcomes throughout the game. So when you're talking to people about it and they do different options, there's things can change quite drastically, which I think is quite a decent thing to happen to have in a game. But one thing I had the one thing I struggled with at the end, I had three choices and I didn't know which choice to make for ages. So I actually cheated a little bit and went online and looked at all the endings before I made the choice because I wanted the best one for me. And I chose the right one. So I got the choice of giving up control of my body to Johnny, going in myself, obviously, and the asking Pan Am and her friends for help. So I chose the Pan Am one.
Yeah.
Same.
Because she was my
Oh,
love
we all
interest
did
in
it.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I really liked that ending because it makes me wonder how other ones work. Well, I actually do know because I watched the other endings
Yeah,
on
I've watched
YouTube.
it all now as well.
But it all, you go out in the desert and all and a whole gang are like, yeah, we'll help you out and we'll and you have this whole plan, to
It's really good that if you've done
Yeah.
that side quest, because obviously you don't get the option if you haven't done that side arc.
Mhm.
It's just not an option at all. But it's
Yeah.
like, hey, you have more
You ring
friends
them
because
up.
you help people out.
So if you
Yeah.
ring them up, are they just like, no, we don't have the tank? There's no way we're doing it.
But no, so from what I've seen, if you don't do that side quest, when you get your options on that rooftop with Johnny, it's just not there.
Yeah.
There's just no
Yeah.
option because you
100%.
haven't interacted with them, you haven't finished their side arc.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so if your love interest is Judy, does she is there an option for her to help you? I can't quite remember.
No, but in the Pan Am ending, if you call Judy when you're on that rooftop, when he says, "Do you want to talk to anyone before we do this?"
Yeah.
If you talk to Judy and you've romanced her, from what I understand, no matter what ending, she'll come with you. But
Right.
with Pan Am's ending, all three of you ride off into the sunset together.
Oh, fucking lucky
So
bastard.
I've got my best buddy Pan Am, and then my fuck buddy Judy,
Oh, nice.
And then a couple others on the side.
and the rest of the Eldercardos.
That's
We
weird, but
all rode
so
off
if you
together.
romance Judy, I mean, because in mine she leaves the city and goes off
Yeah.
touring around.
Yeah, she left with me and Pan Am.
I had to
Ah,
like Google some backstory stuff because it didn't make sense when she left and she's like talking about how like everything is like better outside of like Night City because they talk a lot about how there's like the new United States versus like the West corporate states, which are like an old
yeah.
like privately owned like bit that's no longer government controlled. But and she's like talking about Oregon and I'm like, I know enough about geography to know that that's also on the West Coast. So like why is that so different? And I had to look up
Mhm.
why Oregon was different. in a wiki that that's still controlled by like the US government, and it's not the same. It's technically not the same country, so of course it's different.
Okay.
And I'm just sat there like, because I was like, why isn't she just in a different corporate hellscape, but now with her nan? Like, why didn't she get there and her nan is just like in the same problem that her and Evelyn were in, but just with Oregon written on the side instead of like whatever, like California, I guess.
Yeah. Hmm.
So we all did the Pan Am ending.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did Stuntmaster. So everyone I've spoken to about this game, we've all done the same ending.
It just feels like the
other endings as well.
natural ending.
Yeah.
It felt like the ending that, because the way that I saw the relationship between like my interpretation of V and a lot of this other stuff was like he was probably like, because he's corpo and then they betray him and then he's got this relationship with Johnny and Johnny's constantly like antagonistic and he likes him, but does he trust him? Like, to put everything on the line? And I wasn't certain that the character, even though I like Keanu Reeves, that doesn't mean V likes Johnny.
Yeah.
So I sort of played into the role play a little bit. And I'm like, no, I think if V is gonna go into a building and get shot to shit, then V should die V. Right? Like,
Yeah, I just found the ending a bit.
ending for me.
I don't know because I watched all the endings, but it was just a bit frustrating because at the end, no matter which choice you have, if you get rid of Johnny, you only have 6 months to live. So it's a bit
And
of
I
a bittersweet ending, to be honest.
The
I
ending,
interject.
if you go for the rogue plan, but you choose to live, you get a different ending to if you go Pan Am and choose to live.
You do.
Because you go on a series of suicide missions and amass like a huge amount of infamy, and then it like leaves off with like you go and do a space mission. You know, like it talks about like the
Casino
treasure
space
palace.
heist.
And
Yeah.
it is a cool scene. I
Yeah.
don't know why you run the nightclub in that ending at all. That doesn't make a lot of sense. That,
Oh,
like,
you just become one of the legends. I don't think you run it. I think you're just one of like the Hall of Famers.
but like who? But you're in Rogue's booth and stuff. Like it's weird. And like
Yeah.
there's like emails that imply that like you're
You're in
involved.
charge. Yeah.
So what I did was when you're walking up to that roof, you know, before you make your big decision, I made a save. I didn't actually do Pan Am's ending first. I actually picked the ended all ending first to see if the game would let me do that, if that was a real option or if it was a
Does
fake
it
out.
cut to credits?
So you throw your pills off the roof, it pans to a scenic scape of Night City, a cityscape, and then you hear a gunshot and the credits roll and it's all your
Yes.
friends crying about how you killed yourself.
That
And I'm like,
the ending.
I'm like, oh, let's just load that back. Let's do a real ending.
Yeah, because I assumed that'd be what would happen. Would just be that there'd be some kind of like.
That is exactly what happens. You
cut
shoot
credit.
yourself in the head.
So, did you guys know about the secret fourth ending at that time?
I
No,
found out about it afterwards, and I realised that I made myself ineligible for it
Same.
because there's a special dialogue on Johnny's side mission that you either need to answer perfectly or you need to have 70% affinity with him. And I've checked what mine is, and mine's,
mine's
60,
60.
so I can't get it.
Yeah,
So
mine's
I
also.
can't ever
60
do that
because-
secret ending without doing another playthrough or loading back to that side quest and playing from there.
Because that one dialogue decision counts for something like 30 or 40%
That's insane.
of that progression, and you need at least 70% or something.
Yeah,
like that.
you basically have to. You can't blow his dick. You basically have to be like, you can't call him a Night City legend. You have to say he's the guy that saved your life, but he's been fucking up his chances to like make it right with you, and he's got one more. And that's when you're on the roof. And then on the rooftop, he's like,
That's
after
one
you
more.
have to sit there for about 3.5 minutes or so, from what I've seen. And if you just sit there staring off into space, he goes, well, I've got one more idea. How about a reckless suicide run through the front doors? I just say you grab your pistol and go for it. It's a pretty fucking cool ending.
Yeah, I saw it
thought
online.
was-
Yeah.
But
I thought it was
apparently it's really
mechanically-
difficult to like
Yeah.
win. And if you die, you don't load back your save. It rolls credits.
Yeah,
So
that's
then
why I was
you'd
like,
have
I
to
wish
make a
that.
manual save beforehand.
That's why I wish that wasn't a secret ending. I wish the secret ending was you live. Like if you make
Yeah.
make it even.
Yeah, it
do
should.
that,
It should.
because
You
that
should
doesn't
get the
make sense.
option for everyone. Should get the option, but only the people that are tough enough and have like geared themselves all the way up can actually beat it.
Like why?
Because you get the rogue end. You essentially get the rogue ending, but rogue doesn't get fucked up by Adam Smasher because she's not there.
Weird that
Did
like,
anyone?
going on a suicide mission is tied to like Johnny being suicidal, especially when how many people here, for curiosity, because in my first and I did the Pan Am route, but
Yeah.
when you get to the end and it's like you're gonna have 6 months left to live, it's like
We all chose to
no.
keep our bodies, didn't we?
Because I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
well,
yeah.
here's a way
Yeah.
for both of us to live. I'm going to give Johnny, I guess genetically it's his now or whatever. That ending ruined so much of the story for me. Because Johnny, I don't know how many people here have like looked it up, but like Johnny just
Watched
sort
it.
of becomes this like weird surrogate dad to some like next door neighbor's kid, and then leaves Night City forever.
Oh,
he, like,
that's weird.
And he like quits smoking.
Yeah, and he gives his guitar away.
Yeah, and it's like a ridiculous like. So the kid like next door's got a dodgy relationship with his dad, and he wants to learn how to play the guitar, and Johnny's teaching him, and he goes, and it's like, oh here, I'll give you like $100 if you like drive me around town, and so he goes to like the junk shop that like has all the guitars and stuff on the walls, and it sells
Yeah.
like the samurai albums, like that. He goes there, and there's a place in the back. It's like, no, I want to buy a guitar. It's like, well, we've got these. No, I want to buy a real guitar, not this like piece of junk. And he goes out and he buys a guitar for like €10,000 or something, or €5,000. And they drive to a graveyard, like not the graveyard, the like the big like Arasaka Memorial where there's like all the little like safety deposit boxes.
Where you find
yeah,
that guy's
yeah.
tortoise.
Yes. Yeah.
I've not done that mission.
Oh, that was good. Yeah, it was your neighbour, and the cops are outside the neighbour's door. And then if you do his mission, because he's lost someone, and it's his pet tortoise. Yeah,
Spoilers. Sorry.
Oh,
this is a
man.
spoiler show, so
You can't come on to a show called the
Oh, yeah,
Spoilerific
that's
Blowout.
fine. Oh, I don't mind. It's just like
Alright.
for me, I like had a couple of conversations with him, and then he commits suicide.
Oh, you
and
have
the
to ask
cop-
all the blue questions.
yeah.
I could have swore I did, but maybe I missed one. Because yeah, like I got back. It felt like a bit of a weird, like bittersweet thing. Because like there's the cop that's like a massive hard ass, and it's just like, no, it's fine. He'll shake himself over. And actually, sort of learns a bit of a lesson, and you learn that like the reason he was that much of a hard ass was because he genuinely just believed that guy was like a trooper, right? Like a genuine hero and could like power through anything. And so it's like that attitude sort of cycles round and is like one of the reasons he feels so alone. And it's like a really weird but like nice, touching story that felt genuine.
Yeah.
It's better if you find out about his pet that died.
It's like,
Yeah,
I thought it was
100%.
like a genuine, like I thought it was like his partner had died. He'd been like serving on the force with like 30 years or something.
Well, that's the thing. He's like, oh, they understood me, or they were my only
No wonder
friend.
that
Like
guy
I
was
thought,
like,
dude.
"Oh,
I'm like,
fine." Like you grow out of it. He'll
Didn't
snap
his
out of it.
grandpa or something give him the turtle?
yeah, something like that.
Oh, that's okay. That brings it back up again. Like, it's like... But
Also,
where was I?
Sorry. I thought one of the biggest wasted characters was Adam Smasher.
Yes.
Yeah,
They
Yeah,
could have done
he's in the
so
game. What?
much with him, and they
He's
just
in the
didn't
game
do anything
3
with him.
times.
Because there are only
did-
2 living members from Johnny Silverhand's day, Rogue and Adam Smasher, and Rogue at least gets a whole side job. He turns up for one boss fight and smashes a window.
He's in the
Yeah.
game 3
Adam-
times. He's in the brain dance where you're looking at Evelyn's memories.
Mhm.
He's in the final boss fight, and he's
Smashes through the
he's
window.
in the Johnny flashback. Yeah.
Sly, Adam Smasher has probably one of the best intros in that game. That first time you see him on the elevator,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
it is legitimately scary,
So
dude. It's like,
creepy.
what the fuck? And then it just
You
nothing.
look like
his
a cut
character
of
goes
fuckable meat.
yeah, his
that's
character goes nowhere, and it was so disappointing.
Because he's just like, the second you see him, you're just like, grade A, like 0% human, 100% absolute. I'm gonna censor myself. It's like,
Yeah.
Jesus, like there is absolutely nothing redeemable about that character in any way,
Yeah.
shape, or form.
Incredibly satisfying when you watch on YouTube someone doing the solo suicide run ending with a katana, and they
Beating
cut
him
through
to death.
everyone, and they cut through him as well.
Yeah.
Who
That's
needs a gun?
nuts.
But
Oh.
yeah, that was just that's definitely a negative for me on the game for that one. I really
His-
hoped they would take that character
Mm.
somewhere.
I found his boss battle pain in the ass as well.
It was
at
a
the
bit
end.
awkward.
Yeah.
He kept jumping up to
See-
the upper landing.
Yes, that's exactly
Like,
what I was
I-
doing on mine as
yeah.
well.
Good thing I had a sniper rifle that did 250,000 damage.
So did I.
You go through the floor.
Yeah, that was the thing
I
with
could,
me.
sh-
He
I could
died
shoot through floors.
in a
walls.
few seconds for me. He was
Oh,
just
wow.
instantly dead.
Oh, it took ages on mine.
Yeah, I scanned him. It was like 30% extra damage from EMP. I checked my inventory and I had 112 EMP grenades. So,
Oh, wow.
so that was funny. Just But
Cool.
where was it? So you go to the memorial and he takes a memorial box out for V,
Mm-hmm.
and he puts the necklace that Misty makes for you with the
yeah.
one bullet,
Mm-hmm.
and he puts that in a box, and then he goes outside and he's like gives the kid like 100 euro dollars whatever, and he like pulls a bus ticket out his pocket as a bus pulls up, and he's like, you know, nice meeting you, kid. Don't worry about the guitar. I'm sure everything will work out with your dad or whatever. Gets on the bus, goes to like near the back, sits down, looks out the window, and the kid runs up and he's like, you know, Johnny, Mister, you forgot your guitar. And he looks the kid dead in the eye and goes, no, I didn't. And then bus drives away, and it's like, what? What am I watching?
Yeah.
It's
was-
like, oh no, Johnny Silverhand, what happened to you? He nuked Arasaka Tower twice. That's what he does if he lives.
I definitely feel like the Pan Am ending was the best ending. Definitely.
Oh, it's
At least you got some, you know, because you drive off, you've got 6 months to live, but it's like, right, we're going to go and try and find a cure, you know, and
yeah, like
then it's left to your imagination if they find something to save him or not.
a
It's quite decent.
bittersweet ending, which is quite nice.
The only
Yeah.
ending where you're sort of almost guaranteed to live is if you. So with the Arasaka ending, you've got the choice of signing the contract or not signing the contract. So when you sign the contract, they put you in cyberspace, and they're like, "We'll download you." Oh, I can't
Yeah.
hear anybody.
Yeah, no, yeah,
Oh,
carry
sorry,
on.
everyone's mics are pulsing like they're talking. They give you the option to plug into cyberspace, and they'll download you into a new body when the technology's progressed along a little further. But obviously, you have to. They don't know when that's going to be, and there's a lot of trust issues there. And what I learned is if Takamura's there, Goro's there, he sits with you and he sort of talks you into it, or he tries to talk you into it. You still have the choice. If he's not there, you kind of have to make that choice by yourself. But the other option is refuse to sign the contract. You return to Earth for 6 months, and then you probably die.
Yeah.
But there is one option where you're, I wouldn't say guaranteed to live, but it looks a little better, I guess, where you can go in the cyberspace
Yeah.
into Mikoshi.
I suppose like the best like guaranteed ending is if you're like one of those mad lads that just puts like 20 points into int and you just become like net runner god with alt. You just
Yeah.
wander off into beyond the black wall and you just follow in the same line.
I wish I
quite-
could have done the secret ending. I would have loved to have done that.
Yeah, same. Like, cause that played like 100%, and like the only reason I chose Pan Am because it was the closest thing to like going in of like free will, do whatever happens. But if I
Yeah.
had the option of like one man storm into Arasaka, and if you die, roll credits, I've been like, bam, give me that one.
If
Fair
they
enough.
made it a big deal, Johnny makes a big deal about you do this, you'll lose whoever you go in with. You should do it yourself or do it with me and Rogue. We're professionals. and it's like I didn't want to pick the Johnny and Rogue do it, not because I didn't want to surrender control. It was because I was like, I like Rogue's character, and I get the feeling he's cautious that she's gonna die, and I'm like, I don't want to kill Rogue. Rogue's a cool character.
Yeah, Rogue is cool. Well, the problem is like a
No,
lot of
I
the
wanted to
other
leave her alive.
cool characters as well.
Yeah, I like the Eldecados, but I was like, I really
Yeah.
hope Pan Am lives.
Yeah, also I like the Pan Am ending because it's like your. I think it just made me think, oh, that's your kind of your last chance at love and maybe finding a cure with someone who you care about, etc., rather than being chucked into cyberspace or whatever. So I quite
And
like
like
that
6
ending.
months, even if you do die like 6 months later, it's like 6 months effectively with like a surrogate family who like
Yeah,
who you like got a relationship with from doing all these side quests. Like
yeah, that's it.
Dakota is like a cool cranky like aunt, like she's cool. I like Dakota. Like Pan Am, cool.
Yeah.
Saul, rip.
Yeah.
I was so shocked when Adam just like comes through and just like curb stomps him.
Oh no! I was like, no.
Because I didn't really care about Saul, and like Adam's like comes in, like Saul is just like 100% believes his like, well, doesn't like believe his own hype, but like sold his hype to me in that moment when he just like turns around, and is just like eat shit, and he just like gives up. I'm like, no, like what? He was doing the thing. I go, what? He was. Oh, Saul, rip, pouring out for Saul.
You know, we were talking about side quests earlier. Do we really launch into the whole like Rogue side quest? Because I thought that was a really cool one where you do their little
Yeah.
movie date.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah, that was
yeah,
really well
the
done,
movie
wasn't it?
day.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go to the movies and then they're like gonna bang and then she like stops it and you're like, oh, that would have been interesting though. The thought of like fucking someone while like controlling the body. It's like, what are the ethics behind this? And I guess CD Projekt Red chickened out.
Well, considering that like there is, like if you go for the rogue, ending, Johnny bangs Rogue anyway.
Yeah.
So like it's, I guess that's also like that's the time that they do it. I suppose they. I don't know. I feel like there's supposed to be some more to that question because she has that moment where she's like, "I'm not the rogue." She doesn't say, "I'm not the same rogue you knew." She says, "I'm not the rogue you knew," which is a very subtle difference that could mean everything. You know, because there's like the whole idea of like Evelyn, one of the first characters we meet,
Yeah.
as like basically a doll. She adopts other people's personality, and like Judy talks about how she like goes to extreme lengths to get into character, and she like buys fancy cigarettes to like. And the way that she talks is she's not being an invented person, is that she's emulating specifically someone else. And then there's this other important character later who is like, how is it you lived? How did you get out of there? Why are you still alive when everyone else dies? I'm not the person you think I am. It's like, whoa, hang on. Like, there's got to be more here, right? No, she just
it's-
like got freaked out because Johnny's not in Johnny's body? Question mark. But then fucks you later. It's like what?
It's really interesting when you think about how old Rogue actually is, because
Yeah,
she's in her mid-20s in like the 2020s, right? 2025, I think it's when the flashbacks
yeah,
happen.
2025.
Yeah,
The
so
other
that makes her mid to late 70s.
yeah.
But
I
she
guess
doesn't look
along-
70 at all.
She doesn't. She looks like 55, 50 maybe.
Yeah, they talk a lot about how like the average life expectancy for people with means like has skyrocketed.
Yeah. She's still looking good.
Doesn't look a day over 59.
Cool, guys. We've been going on for an hour and a half now, so I'm quite keen to wrap things up very shortly. So, is there any final thoughts on the game in general, or the ending, or anything?
I'm just wondering where they're going with the DLC.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
If it's gonna be like like a side arc about like characters that were underexplored, or if they're gonna man up and give us an ending like DLC.
Well, that's the thing, right? Because when you complete the game, your game save is before making those
Yeah,
choices again,
it is.
isn't it? So there's none of this, like in most open world games, you complete it and then you can go back into the world after you've completed it and do stuff. It's, well, this is your game save before the final mission, and you know, you can go back and do your stuff, but it's not, you know,
You've
I guess
actually
it's
hit one of my
fun though, right?
bugbears. Is
Yeah.
Because
when
if
it
you
does that
could,
to you, you don't get to keep your XP from the final mission, so you
yeah,
go
that
back a
was a
level or
big
two.
bugbear.
That annoyed me.
well, that's a bit shit.
I think they wrote
Yeah.
themselves into a corner though, because like no matter how you resolve the ending, it's either you survive or Johnny survives
Yeah,
in the body.
yeah.
So if you were to go to the side quest, you just lose so much information and like so much characterization with Johnny. You just have a ton of dead, empty air where Johnny just isn't speaking, but everyone's waiting
Yes.
for their cue.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I can see where that does make sense. So
Get the
this,
feeling they're going to do
yeah.
a side story rather than a continuation.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I loved the game from start to finish. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done. One of the, the storyline, the side quests, so well done in this game. It's just a shame that its launch has been plagued with all the issues, and that's been the overwriting story of the whole game, right? You know,
Yeah.
in the news media, it's it's glitchy, it's buggy, it doesn't run well on the base consoles, blah blah blah. But underneath all those issues, there's a really deep and good game there, which I think is a masterpiece. To be quite honest with you, just the way they've done all the characters, how they make everyone feel really believable. Just when you're exploring the city, it feels alive. Um, and I think it's a really great game, and I really hope that they can get it up to a good standard for everyone else out there, on the consoles and lower spec PCs, because it's one of those games I don't think people should really miss out on.
Same. I hope this is like it sort of serves as a wake up call for like the people, like either whoever it was that was like hyping it up. It was
Yeah.
one of like the game directors who was like, this game runs surprisingly well on like the current gen like consoles back in like January or whenever it was, like last year.
Yeah.
But like there's the Witcher 3 was really shoddy on launch, but they picked up the pieces, and The Witcher 3 is one of the best RPGs I've ever played.
Yeah.
Runs so well you can put it on the Switch. So, and you can play it portably, and it can maintain a 30 FPS frame rate or something.
Yeah, but how many years did it take them to be able to do that, though? Right? I mean, it's
exactly.
a lot of work, and you can
And now they've
tell that.
oversold it again
Yeah,
with
I mean,
Cyberpunk.
yeah,
They can't keep doing this.
yeah, I mean, and it's one of those things they've been really caught out, because in their initial trailer in 2013, at the end of the trailer, it said ready when it's ready. It'll come out when it's ready, and obviously they've gone back on that, and all the devs have said they were telling the management at CD Projekt Red it's not ready. We need more time, but management were like, look, we've already delayed it by a year. We need to push it out, and that's the mistake they made.
Which is ironic given the genre of game they were making.
100%. So, but I think it got to that point where money kind of took over, but it has backfired. They've lost a lot of their good reputation in the world with gamers, and there's a set of lawyers that are trying to sue them as well. So, it's backfired massively, which is a shame.
Yeah.
But overall, if they'd given it, I'd say another 6 months, they probably would have been in a lot better position, and they wouldn't have had all these issues, and people would have enjoyed it a lot more. The overarching story of the game would have been, in the media, this game, the campaign's amazing, the characterizations are amazing, it's just a great game, and CD Projekt Red have done a really good job. They're very ambitious making this game, because they've never done anything like this before. They've done all the Witcher games completely different, doing a city, then sparse open world landscapes, right? All you've got to worry about is trees and grass. A city is very difficult to do. There's a lot going on. AI with the characters, all the lighting, all the buildings, it's very busy,
Yeah.
and it's, people, I don't think people realize how much work goes into making an open world game, especially one, like a city, like Grand Theft Auto, etc. It's a big task.
It's a different beast because you can't just like. There's a lot of shortcuts you can take with like having one tree replicated like 7,000 times. And
Yeah.
there is some of that with like the big posters, the wacky wacky posters.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's a lot of unique stuff on screen at once.
Yeah.
Like even if it's duplicated in other areas of the city, anything that's rendered on your screen at a given time, a lot of it is fairly unique
Yeah.
compared to the other things just on screen. So you can't do those shortcuts in the same way. And it is a shame. It's a bittersweet pill. Like I want to
Yeah.
be able to look back in like 2 years and be like, man, with this like 2 years of patches, Cyberpunk 2077 has now become the best game of 2020.
Right, should we get to questions? Because we have had some
Yeah.
questions.
I'm
If
currently
I-
watching
if I may.
Borat Visits Night City.
one mini ending question, because I'm curious how this. So in the Judy quest line, there's that resolution you can get with the dollhouse in Mega Building Hate Shade. Like, did you guys manage to get that to work, or did it? Because it just collapsed, and like I think Tom dies, and like the other person barely manages to get out with her life.
Yeah, one of them died. The other one was injured.
Yeah, like it's.
Mm.
Because I assume for everyone like Judy either leaves or heads out with you with Pan Am, for example, like I assume there's
Yeah.
no way to resolve that where it ends well.
I'm pretty sure she always leaves.
Yeah,
Whether
she
that
left for
be-
me. Yeah.
Yeah. The Night City Legend endings are quite interesting, in a sense, especially if you run as Pan Am, because she'll be butt naked in your shower and then she leaves. There's no way she stays. And she's like, what happened to wanting to run free and get out of Night City? You're trying to like conquer it now. It's interesting.
Right, let's do
Pan Am ending
questions.
was good.
All right.
Yeah, questions.
Windows Wipers Bob says, does Cyberpunk signal the death of backwards compatibility modes, given it should have been developed for next-gen consoles only? I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, this was announced in 2013 before the last gen consoles even came out. So I would imagine the primary platform should have been Xbox One, PS4, and PC. But I think they've been overly ambitious, and in my opinion, they should have released it on PC first and then pushed it out on the consoles a bit later.
Money talks,
Yeah,
basically.
I mean, they've
There's
sold
too much
over
money on old consoles to not take it.
100%. I mean, they've sold over 13 million units.
After refunds.
That's
Yeah,
a lot of money.
that is a lot of money.
Right, they
I
can use
assume
that money
they
to patch the
just,
game.
yeah, I just assume they thought they would just get away with it. I mean, so many games do get away with it, just releasing buggy and they
Bethesda.
just patch it later.
I have like a sneaking suspicion. Remember with like Battlefront 2 when there was like a similar thing where they kept promising and hyping up Battlefront 2 and it comes out and it's trash. And
Yeah.
then but if you remember when that game tanked, a bunch of people who were on the board of directors got found to have been fiddling figures because whenever they delayed the game or like release press, the stock price went up. But then when the game came out and it was and people hated all the microtransactions, the stock tanked and they bought it back. So they sold high before it sold because they knew the game was trash and everyone was going to hate it on launch, buy it back at half the price and pocket the difference. I think it was like 3 or 4 people got done for that.
Wow.
I don't know ultimately what happened to them, but I remember that happening. So I'm cautious that because every time CD Projekt Red announced they delayed Cyberpunk, their stocks went up, not down. And now their stocks went through the floor when it came out, and now I'm like, this is sounding very familiar. So like, I hope it's just like a manager, or a director's, or a guy on the board's arrogance, and not like somebody trying to tank the company for profit.
Yeah. Who
But
knows?
like, yeah, I don't think it means much for backwards compatibility because we're seeing more and more games come out with like performance modes versus quality modes and stuff, where you can sort of where any like game that used to come out on a previous gen, you can crank it up further on a performance mode. Or get a better like frame rate and stuff. So, because it's easy, right? Like if it's the same game and you can crank it up higher and you just have a on-off switch, it's minimal cost for all of the reward of selling the game twice.
Yeah.
And now for a tenner more.
Woohoo! Right, next question.
Yeah.
Rusty Ron 72 says, "Do you wish Cyberpunk had a third-person mode rather than just first-person?"
No, I feel like first person. I don't know. I feel like you'd take away from the game if you're in third person.
I like how Fallout did it, where it was first person by default, but you could crank the camera and you could have that behind the shoulders view where you could see your
Yeah.
character from the back.
But it
That
does
was kinda-
highlight how jank some of the animations are in third person.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
only reason I'm gonna say hard no, and I'm glad that they didn't outside of photo mode, is because this game has enough jank with just first person without them having to
Yeah.
add a whole bunch of third person. Well, not necessarily add third person animations, because I imagine they can recycle a bunch from the NPCs, but just making that work with how a player moves versus like a specifically canned animation an NPC can go through.
Yeah.
Uh,
I
That's nice.
I'm glad they stuck with first person because I think it makes the world a lot more immersive. To be honest, I've been playing a lot of Grand Theft Auto 5 the last week or so, and I'm loving it. Obviously, it's third person, but I think just
It has a
it does have a
first-person
first
mode.
person mode,
Yeah.
but that was added in a lot later. It wasn't actually in at launch or whatever. But
And
I
the
think
first mode of that is quite jank with the way that like he holds the gun and stuff, because it's sort of the same problem in reverse there, right? Where
yeah. But what I'm finding is just comparing them slightly because they are completely different games. I think with Cyberpunk, it just makes the world a lot more immersive, a lot more believable because you're seeing it kind of through your own eyes, if that makes sense, instead of seeing a person you're controlling running around. I just think it just made it feel a lot more believable. That's my opinion, anyway.
Yeah, there definitely was. I remember one of the earliest interviews with the fella who made the RPG book, I forget the name of, when he was talking about, like in one of those first interviews, like when I saw Night City for the first time at night from first person looking up at the city.
Yeah.
It was like incredible. And I'm like, of course you'd think that, you wrote it. And then that first scene when you come out of the apartment block and you meet Jackie at the little like Chinese takeaway like stand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was sort of stood there looking up, and I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah, it is it is a wow moment. It really is. You walk out your apartment for the first time. You walk out into the city, and there's loads of NPCs just wandering around. It's all very busy, and you can look up at the sky, look at all the
Your
skyscrapers.
frame rate tanks.
I was literally just about to say that. You took the words right out of my mouth, and you just like, wow. This is just so amazing. 100%.
Yeah,
The
but it
bit
does
that
look very
nailed
good.
that for me that I've not seen anybody talk about is I'm one of those nerds where the first time I got my surround sound headset, and I'm like, I'm going to set up the surround sound zones. Oh, I'm a PC gamer nerd. The train, when it comes past on the rails, that was synced up. I could follow it purely based on the sound.
Brilliant.
Like a lot of games don't do that very well. It's like half stereo, and it like doesn't quite work. You lose it halfway through.
Yeah.
There's some amazing attention to detail.
Yeah, there is. It's amazing. Right, let's get through these last few questions. John Fawn says, "Is it worth playing on PS4?" I don't know.
It's
PS4.
PC, I think.
Probably not. I don't know.
Incredible meme footage from people.
Wait for a patch.
Yeah, I'd wait for Sony to put it back on this.
Oh yeah, it got taken off the store, didn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's got a warning on the Xbox store. I saw it earlier. It says experience may be worsened without updates or something like that.
Oh, there we go. So a lot of people are saying wait for the next gen patch and play on a next gen console. So that's advice that I would give, not having played it on a console.
Also, if you're asking if you should buy it on what console you should buy it on, this is not the podcast. You should have asked that question. It's too late. We've ruined the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I need to put a
Yeah,
spoiler
that's a good
warning at the
point,
beginning of the
actually.
show, actually. I need to do that. I have to do that in the edit.
Questions at the start.
Nikki Wilson says, if you had to augment one body part, what would you choose?
Well, Jesse Cox taught me a valuable lesson, and I'm going to have to change my answer.
Is it the gorilla arms?
Gorilla Arms is cool.
It's
Yeah.
I
If
would
you're
get myself a Thrustmaster 3000.
Legs, I think.
Oh, double
Maybe
jump
arms.
is too useful.
Yeah, double jump is useful.
I like the idea of gorilla arms because you just. I was going to say you never lose a fight, but that last boxing fight, I got my ass kicked before the podcast.
I didn't do all those. I couldn't be asked.
Oh well, the final fifth fight, the bonus fight. Good luck. I got hit once and I was knocked out. So
That's not
good
good.
luck with that one.
Need to
All right.
spec into melee.
Well, I've got a few more questions
you
and I have
beaten
to
it?
go in a few minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'll stop talking so much.
Ronnie McCarthy says, how much replayability do you think Cyberpunk has after you finished it? Would you complete another playthrough or just the different end sequences?
No.
I don't think it's got any replayability for me personally. I'm done, unless they bring out some good DLC.
Yeah.
I might play that, but I've played enough of it and I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think it's got like the same replayability that a lot of those like old school like Deus Ex games and stuff have, where like in a couple years we'll have forgotten half of the nuance to the story, and we might be able to sort of half play it again, almost as if it's new. It's not something you can play over again from the start. Like, I really wanted that secret ending. I'm gonna wait like 3 years. I'm not doing it.
I mean, if you really want to like play the opposite like spec, I guess. If you want to, play a woman if you played a man, or play a man if you played a woman. But I mean, it's the same dialogue delivered by a different person, right?
I think
It's just
so.
the builds you'd be doing. If you want to do a
Yeah.
completely different build.
Because I did not do much of the hacking. I did some quick hacking, but there's like the unique ones you can get in the entry, which I didn't touch. So that could be interesting to go back in like 6 months with more patches and maybe a DLC or two.
Yeah. Right, I'm gonna do. I've got a couple of. Well, I'm gonna do one more question because I really need to go. So, Nigel Arnold says, with all the backlash, will this change the mentality of other game devs and publishers to release as close to a fixed game, or will investors still not really care and want it out the door with bugs and fixes later?
I don't see anything changing. It's been like this forever.
I'd be very interested to see what the next Bethesda or Bugfesda game turns out to be like.
Yeah.
Also, I feel like it's just too different. Like, there's some people saying this game's unplayable, and other people like me, I think it's playable. So I feel like it's
You can
two
beat it start to
completely
finish.
different. Yeah, but there's also people complaining that they say it's unplayable, which I don't understand. But obviously, they're from console, probably.
I don't think it's been released completely unplayable, but I think the bugs and glitches are just putting people off to just putting them off completely,
It's like the perfect storm of stuff, right? Like the crashes on some people's consoles and like the weird epilepsy warning that like if you're on an SSD never appears because it loads too quick.
Yeah.
Like, all kinds of just the perfect storm of nonsense.
Yeah, 100%. Cool. That's the last question. I've really enjoyed this. It's been good.
Yeah.
I could probably talk about this game for a while longer, talk about the ethics and the morality of some of the stuff that goes on.
Yeah. Like,
So
I felt like
it's kind of screwed up.
Anyone else, because I'm one of those people that just sits there and goes, but what does this mean for the law?
Can we all agree that the character that was hardest done by the universe was Alt Cunningham? Poor Alt.
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, all
sad
got
times.
screwed.
Cool. Well, guys, need to end it here. Did nearly 2 hours. Bloody hell. Insane. Right, we need to end. Thank you very much for coming on, everyone. It's been awesome to do the Cyberpunk Spoilerific Blowout show. I must remember to put a spoiler warning at the beginning of the episode. Because we didn't do that. But yeah, it was awesome. So thank you very much. So for me, Mark Webb, Gavin Tag Piss on D, Steam ID, Webby 360G.
And from me, Sly Armand.
Yep, from me, Turner. Cheers for having me on, Webby.
No worries. Good times.
Yeah, and for me, Delatoth on all platforms, basically.
Awesome.
Nice to be here.
Brilliant. Hopefully have you guys on again in the future. Good fun times. Cool. So from everyone here, thank you very much. Doing the normal show again, doing another one tomorrow. Bloody hell. So thank you very much for those Patreons out there. You will hear from me tomorrow. So thank you very much. We'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.
ASMR.